I wrote Rift about 10 years ago, and it's still, that track holds a pretty special place in my heart. And mainly, the whole thing was written on guitar. And it's one of those records that, still to this day, people ask me questions about it pretty frequently. And I mean, my favorite question always is, what guitar plugin, what VST did you use? This and this, these are the VSTs. And this is a Gibson Les Paul, which is pretty similar to the guitar I used actually when I wrote the track originally, which was a 2000 Les Paul. This is a 29 Gibson Les Paul Modern. But, and they were both red. So they're pretty similar to each other. But the whole track, it's an F sharp minor. It's based around the concept of basically arpeggiating F sharp minor 9. So this kind of chord. And then you add that on top of it, which that's your E, that's your minor 7. So then it basically gets shifted down to C sharp. You get the same idea. And then when we go up to E, that we can't use the same minor 9 chord shape on that because then it wouldn't be in key any further. So basically what I did, I used it's basically an E6 add 9. So you get this. Instead of having that minor, the second rubbing against the minor second, or the second rubbing against the minor third, I'm sorry, you get a unison. So you get, and the way it gets put together then, as you probably know, and that's it. You just arpeggiate the little chord progression, and they're not chords you could actually play without arpeggiating, just because you need more fingers. But I always just find that to be a really nice way to really spread out the chord and make it ethereal, and you got to have a nice delay on it. Of course, I have like basically a dotted eighth delay. It's coming out of an eventide rose. But the rest of the song, you just have this little thing. And then that's basically where the minor 9 arpeggio comes out of. And then the breakdown, you get a little melody. It's really simple. The only thing that's really interesting about it, or makes it interesting, is this note, your D sharp, because that that's what implies that the song is in Dorian and not in F sharp natural minor. So if we have this, there's our F sharp minor chord. The flat 6 you'd expect, which would be D, would be this. But instead, you get this. Which kind of gives it a little bit more melancholy. A little more melancholy, I feel a little bit more ambiguous. And I've always just been really drawn to Dorian in general. It's a scale I love. So this song, it's basically F sharp Dorian, 126 beats per minute, and it's just these simple patterns that just get layered on top of each other, but it all comes back down just to that F sharp minor 9 arpeggio. And that's it. I've always loved the concept of, basically I love really big extended chords, and I love 9s, or sus2s even, you could call them. And for instance, like, here's a D5, like a D power chord. Definitely can be effective, but I much prefer this, where you add the E on top, so now you're suspending the second, and that becomes a D sus2. And you've heard that in so much of my music. I can't get enough of that chord, and I probably abuse it, but I love it, so what are you gonna do? And you can kind of take this concept further of, you know, arpeggiating the 9, and let's add the low 6 to it, or the low E, so the 6th string. And if we play it slow, we could take the same thing we had before, but we still have the high E, so we could add this, which is now an 11. So it becomes a minor 11. So if we arpeggiate that, then you get, and I'm going to do it slow because it's actually pretty hard. that's just, to me, one of the most beautiful sounds on guitar or chords in general. I absolutely love it, and it's hard. It really stretches your fingers out, but man, it's a fun one. So that's how you play riff. And you know what? Yeah, if you learn it and post a video, send it over. It'll be cool to check out. And now you know the right way to play it, and it is not a VST, I promise you that. It is simply stretching your fingers very far and arpeggiating some nines. Have fun.